Hi, I'm Max Daniels, host of the 2025 Atkins Realis UDG Conference podcasts. Episodes focus on the topic covered at this year's conference. To introduce myself, I'm an assistant hydraulic modeller at Atkins Realis. I have a passion for communicating the health benefits of getting close to nature. I have a collaborative work approach and enjoy bringing people together to share their experiences. I do this through my own podcast called the Maximise Nature Podcast, which looks at the benefits of going outdoors. Our guest for this episode of the UDG conference is Eva Linnell. Today she'll be discussing the impacts of scaling up at Suds delivery in London and the Thames Valley. I hope you learned something from it. Eva, firstly, thanks for coming on the podcast today. Would you be able to let us know a little bit about you and one experience outside of work you'll never forget?
Sure. Hi. Thanks so much for having me. My name's Eva Linnell. I'm a senior associate at Atkins Realis. I've been here around 15 years. And for the last 5 years, I've been seconded into Thames Water, and I've been leading their first partnership Suds program. I have always been a keen cyclist, less so since I've had my son. The last 2 years, there's been a lot less cycling. But just before my son arrived, I cycled with my husband across France, and it was just the most wonderful experience. You know, we had cycling underneath the Miao Viaduct. Was one of the moments that I just this really sticks in my mind.
What does scaling up Suds delivery in London and the Thames Valley involve? And what is the reasoning behind the project like this?
This is all about Thames Water, facilitating the construction of sustainable drainage solutions all across their patch. That's the whole of London and the Thames Valley. It's a huge, huge area. Mm-hmm. Clearly, there's a huge need. I'm sure I won't need to tell anyone about all the pressures that we're facing around climate change, population growth, all of those things. I mean, sustainable drainage, as I'm sure, again, most listeners would feel is a bit of a kind of golden solution to these challenges. You know, it deals with the water aspect, but it also makes our communities better places to live. You know, it also enhances well-being, and so many things that are so important.
How have you seen it impact with well-being? As I feel like that's an important part of the working environment as well.
Definitely. I mean, the wonderful thing about this project is it's all about partnership, because doing this as a water company, obviously we see one side, we're very much interested in the water side, but mainly councils, but also community groups and charities. You know, they're really plugged into what communities, what local people want, you know, where there might be a need for more green space in an area, all those sorts of things. So what's been really brilliant as part of this is partnering up with people that say, you know what, in my community, in this area, we've got no green spaces. Like, can we put in a little pocket park here? We know that people really want that. At the same time, we're going to put a load of water storage in there. You know, ticks both the boxes. So, I mean, we've delivered in AMP7 75 separate projects. All of those have had, you know, a community benefit element, which is, which has been really, really lovely to be part of.
I certainly testify to that because I went to uni in Cardiff. There's so much greenery. It was so nice just to walk around there after a lecture. It really hits home at how important green spaces and that sense of community is. How are projects such as the Suds delivery project dealing with the growing pressures of climate change and rapid urbanisation that you hinted at earlier?
All of our projects take rainwater out of the sewer or store rainwater to slow it down. So I guess from a water flooding and storm overflows point of view, it reduces the risk of flooding, it reduces the amount of storm overflows. But that's a very sort of techie network perspective. Of course, if, as we have with our projects, if there's kind of a green component on top, there's some extra trees going in, you know, maybe some extra amenity features, some nice planting, then of course you're also getting the well-being benefits, the biodiversity benefits, the air quality benefits, you know, urban heating, all of those things that come with climate change and rapid urbanisation. So by investing in partnership Suds delivery, we're supporting kind of the mitigation of those pressures of climate change and urbanisation.
Exactly. I think that is, for me, a theme that runs across all of the episodes. It's that theme of not only community, but green spaces. And with AMP8 plans in place and other innovative projects being carried out across the UK, What does the future look like to you? And can we continue to build those really strong climate resilient communities?
Absolutely. I'm really, really excited about how this has grown. And I guess one of the key messages that I would take from this program is these things build momentum in a really exciting way. So, for example, I've been able to sort of provide technical input into an Ofwat Innovation Fund project, which is all about Suds and streetworks. So basically, when we dig up the road, can we put back Suds rather than just tarmac? And, that has the potential to be an absolute game changer in like the de-paving, particularly in London, but other big cities as well. But, where there's the greatest challenge, you've suddenly, another few years down the road, we could have a mechanism that's delivering 10,000 rain gardens a year. Or, AMP8, we're going again. We're doing kind of more of the same. We've got a bigger program. We've got, we're trying to apply all the things that we've learnt from AMP7. We've got the same, a bigger dedicated team at Thames Water to work in partnership. We've got more funding. We've got, we're building on kind of standards and delivery processes and kind of trying to reach more and more councils and delivery partners as well. Yeah, I think that's another thing that I find exciting is kind of seeing how the capacity to deliver is growing. So, we've worked with councils and they've sometimes taken years to like build a project, like to work out all the niggles and it's a right pain sometimes just to do one rain cut. But once they've been through that process, then it gets easier and easier. And so, I'm really optimistic. And I've got to say, I've been in the privileged position of being able to provide funding for amazing projects. But, the real delivery graft is being done by the partners. It's being done by the councils, by the community groups. And just witnessing that is really inspiring as well.
Yeah, I think that's really exciting to hear, especially for me and everybody listening. Impact that I know that will have over the next 15, 20 years, or even on the short term, that will change so much in our water industry and make it a lot more greener, which I think will be massively beneficial for everything. To summarise, if your SciWem conference pass unlocked 3 takeaways from this conversation which the audience could learn from, what would they be and why? One
of the big takeaways is just, if this is something that you're passionate about, then we can make a lot happen. There's a lot that can be done. So I really hope to convey a sense of optimism about this. There's a lot of doom and gloom, and climate change is a huge, huge challenge. I think this is really a great place to have an impact. I would like to be able to convey that the way that sort of the delivery is underpinned by a strategic vision, because we can't undermine the importance of that. You have to go from your strategy through to your funding and the delivery. And so I hope there's some useful takeaways and lessons there. And I also, I suppose I just want to share one example of what we've done and a couple of the things that I think worked really well, like having real clarity over the next kind of 5 years, saying, we will be doing this for the next 5 years. You'll have multiple opportunities, having a clear team, just a few of those really practical things that we've done that our partners have said to us they've found really helpful.
It does sort of bring that whole sense of community to the water industry, which I think is really positive and will be really beneficial in the future.
Yeah, and that, the water industry can be a bit averse, they kind of say, right, we've got our money, we've got our, section off from others, but we can't work in that way anymore. And hopefully, my example, as well as the many others that are out there, lots of people are doing this in different ways, help to build the confidence that we can work in partnership and we can sort of have guaranteed outcomes from that. We don't need to be afraid of it.
Exactly. In one of the episodes I have recorded for this conference, Ben goes into the whole reason why the water industry must be a whole group project, not just a single water company project, if that makes sense. So it's not from the view that this section is yours, we don't deal with it. We need to deal with it as a community.
Absolutely. The water doesn't care where it falls, does it?
No.
Oh, well, I'm really looking forward to hearing your other podcasts.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. Interesting how much potential there is, especially for the UK water industry in the next 5, 10, 15 years. Yeah, thanks again for coming on.
Thanks very much. Yeah, thank you.